Hello and welcome to the channel. I just returned after a beautiful field season in the Black Sea. The 3 seasons that we have undertaken so far at Cape URDOVIZA, this was by far the best and the most productive one of the 3. I suppose in a manner of speaking, this is only to be expected because the previous 2 were opening up the site. We were figuring out how the site is, what is there, what is not. And now we finally have reached the stage where we can start recording proper house structure. And so what did we find? And what did we record this year? Much to my relief, we didn't find many artifacts this year. The previous 2 seasons were fairly rich in artifacts, but this season we had only a couple of things, nothing really all that important. And thank God for that, because conservation is an absolute nightmare, of course. It is expensive, it takes forever, and you really need to have people who are experienced in dealing with maritime material. For this, a big thank you to Dr. Ian MacLeod, the famous Australian maritime conservator, who kindly yet again donated his time to us in the Black Sea, and of course to our own conservator, Ms. Watanova. But as far as the whole structure is concerned, this really was the best season. We were aiming to reach the keel, which was the aim since season 1, but the previous 2 seasons, the ship kept on surprising us with its sheer size and how deep into the bottom she is buried. So every year our expectation that surely to God we're going to reach the keel. This time it just didn't happen. To put this into perspective, we, in order to reach the very bottom of the vessel on the outside of the hull, we have removed more than 30 cubic meters of overburden. That is a substantial amount, and it was cut into very thick mud that we literally had to cut with tools. We couldn't just suck them into the dredges. Of course, this is what has preserved the ship in such outstanding state of preservation. In many places we can see even the tool marks on the timbers, and that is not so often found. We are able to determine now the shear line in the stern with reasonable certainty. We have figured out that unlike most of the other vessels that we have so far recorded or excavated in the Black Sea, this one did have a transom, as is visible on some historical iconography from the period. Now the stern, the transom itself is not surviving, but we have enough physical evidence that it was there to be able to probably reconstruct its shape too. At least this is what I'll be working on in the coming weeks. Then on the outside of the vessel, we were able to use a tool that was developed by Professor Kevin Chrisman from Texas A&M University. Tool that he developed specifically for recording hull structures and hull shapes in limited visibility and with limited accessibility. It is in essence an angle measuring tool that you are walking along the side of the vessel, you're measuring, you're recording the angles, and subsequently based on this you're able to reconstruct the shape. Probably in a future video, assuming we continue to film any videos, I will show you exactly how it is done, or rather I will show you how to process the data. Obviously I do not have a shipwreck here at home, so that may be problematic in taking the actual shape. But I can show you the results of this and how this is transferred into hull sections. The front on which we were able to reach the keel is fairly narrow, but we are able to record some of the sections from the inside of the vessel also. We were able also to reach forward along what we expected to be an uninterrupted deck all the way forward, but in reality proved to be very short, only about 2 meter long deck section. And after that, a major beam and fairly high bulkhead inside the vessel is separating it from a cargo, open cargo. It's not really a hatch even, because the entire central part of the vessel is completely open. There are not even gangways on the sides, only massive lodging knees that are supporting the two major beams that really are acting as coamings for the cargo area. We were able to determine what kind of cargo the vessel was carrying, and this is a new development. I can't say that it really surprised us particularly, because we do have historical evidence that it was timber that was produced in this area of the Strandzha Mountains and was shipped to Constantinople, aka Istanbul, as construction material, building material mostly. It is oak as far as we can determine, although we have not yet been able to take dendro samples for analysis. Just the structure of the grain of the timber is strongly resembling that of the structure of the vessel, and that we know for a fact already, thanks to analysis, that it is oak. Popularly known as Turkish oak, but the proper term is, of course, Quercus ceris. And this is quite interesting. We have such a large quantity, and these bulks of timber inside are very tightly packed inside the ship, and they're with major dimensions. We're talking about more than 30 centimeters a side. So this should give us the ability to take significant number of samples and build up a curve. Why is, for dendro dating, why is this important? Well, because in this case, we have already dendro samples from the structure of the vessel, which is giving us a post-time date for when the timber was cut and when the ship therefore was built, somewhere after 1827. Very likely, since the timber was rarely seasoned in this part of the world, very likely the ship was constructed within the following year, 1828-ish, 29-ish, she was already afloat. So if we are able to retrieve this information also from the cargo of the vessel, which included among the worked timber, that is to say the, well, squared timber, it consists of timbers and planking also. So taking samples from that, but we also have two complete logs with branches that were cut, and they may have been brought secondary to the side by currents, but equally well they may be part of the cargo and simply not be converted, but being carried as round timber. Anyway, all these dates are going to give us the ability to say, again, to have a post-quem date for the sinking of the vessel. So we're going to be able to determine the entire lifespan of the ship once this is retrieved. It is very interesting to see it, because we will be comparing this with one single coin that we found this year. It is a Romanian, or rather Vlachian, coin from 1867. Therefore, the ship likely sank. If the coin is coming from the wreck, the ship must have sunk later than this date. This is very interesting because it's given us more than 40-year lifespan of the ship, which rather goes against the conventional wisdom that Eastern Mediterranean vessels, Southern vessels, Ottoman vessels had very brief spans of life and were all great, lousy construction and all that. Our ship is proving this not to be the case. Some other time I will talk in more detail about what we have learned from this vessel and how it compares with contemporary, that is to say, 17th, 18th, early 19th century Western observers who commented extensively, and I must say not particularly kindly, towards the seamanship of the Eastern Mediterranean world, specifically Greeks, but that probably applies to others as well, to the Ottomans themselves and to the other ethnicities in the empire, and also to their shipbuilding skills. They recognize that they're good shipwrights in the sense of being good carpenters, but the shaping of the vessels left a lot to be desired. And with this, I will bring this video to an end, since it really is just hello. I am back, hopefully not for too long. And in about 2 weeks, I'm planning to be leaving yet again. This time for, the beautiful water temperature of the Baltic. Working on an even bigger ship than this one, and a much older one. So more about all this anon. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you top of your Sunday. Enjoy it. Spend it outside. Don't waste your time watching my videos. Have a wonderful rest of your day.